found a nice beach with the boat. She came, so I think she had a nice time. Almost possible. This way. I'm gonna put this in our drink hole. You need any ice on this?
I'm good. I mean, yeah, it couldn't hurt.
Hi, Kenny. Yeti.
Oh, look at that.
Okay, so here you see us getting ready to go, just Pete and I, on a beautiful, flat, calm morning in Greenport, New York, and we're just getting the boat ready. Not too much to do. Pete had been out there a couple of days at his house, and he just had the boat beautifully detailed, and now we're fixing to get some blood and guts on it and mess it up again, which we do pretty successfully throughout the day. The target is fluke and sea bass. We want to striper fish, and we actually do stop and try some striper fishing, but we're really unprepared for it, and we know that. As I mentioned earlier in the opening frames, we decided on doing this trip at like 1 a.m. and got very little sleep, and I drove out there, and you know, luckily my gear was already put together and I was mostly ready to go. So what happened next was, well, there were no tackle shops open. We couldn't stop and get eels for striped bass, and we didn't have any live porgies, and we didn't feel like stopping and trying to catch them for whatever reason. I think Pete really did want to go and focus on fluke more than the bass. But long story short, we did stop at the point. There was a huge fleet of mostly charter boats, and we saw a lot of bent rods, big bass coming up, and I'm certain most of them were eeling. Some were trolling, wireline and parachute jigs. We tried diamond jigging to no avail, and we didn't expect much, but we tried anyway. And then we tried a little trolling of Mojo, a tandem Mojo rig, and a man stretch 30 lure on braided line, and also to no avail, not a single bite. So really the live bait was key, and we put in a little bit of time trolling and didn't have a lot of patience for it, truth be told. So we did pretty quickly move on to the fluking grounds, and okay, so let's get this thing started.
Finally.
Good job. Just got smacked on the.
Sorry about that, Pete.
For what?
I didn't mean.
No. Are you kidding me right now? This is fat.
Okay, folks, so I want to give you a brief explanation here of what you're seeing. Pete and I got to the fluking grounds, and we got to a well-known part of it called the Frisbees, and we had one good drift there. I think we caught a good fish, maybe two, on that drift. We got a couple nice sea bass. Pete got a big sea bass, and I didn't catch it all on camera. I apologize for that. But we lost the tide and we had a very slow drift, and we probably should have vacated the area looking for moving water sooner. But what we saw, there was a whole lot of bait on the sonar, and we came across schools of large chub mackerel that were chasing little 4 to 6 inch tinker mackerel, and we were actually getting a lot of small bites under those schools. It kept us busy for a while, and being that it was just the two of us on the boat, we had a lot of real estate available to us and rod holders open. So we were dead sticking rods, just kind of drifting along slow. And here you see me doing something that I really enjoy doing, especially when the drift dies, is I take my spinning outfit, which is, this one is my cousin's 7.6 8 to 17 pound test rod, and I have a 4000 Stratic on there spooled up with 15 pound test Power Pro Slick 8, and I throw it out, I let the jig sink all the way to the bottom, and then I just pop and let it drop and reel, pop, drop, let it reel. Repeat that process, work it back to the boat, and just jig that bucktail for a while. And when that jig gets slammed, and sometimes it does get slammed by Big Fluke that way, you've never felt a more savage strike in your life. The bait is really animated and the fluke is really hot to kill it. So that can be just outrageously fun, and I love hooking fish that way. So anyway, it wasn't as productive today. We picked a bunch of keeper sea bass in this area. We had a lot of short fluke, and probably a few small keepers that I didn't even bother to measure, because after fishing Nantucket quite a few times, you get really spoiled there, and a 19-inch fish looks really small. So anyway, let's continue with the action.
Sea bass. Get it? Not bad.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Oh, and you're on. Can we double up? Can we double up?
We almost came on. Small though.
You sure?
I don't think it's a keeper, Papa. I really don't think it's not wrong. Sea bass.
Oh, nice sea bass.
Sea bass.
Another keeper sea bass.
What do we got?
Like this time, very few short sea bass. Mostly keeper, right?
we're using it. It's crazy. This is like the 20th fish, but still. Oh my goodness.
I think it's a...
Huh?
So one difference in today's trip from, well, it was about 2 weeks ago. We were in Montauk on Pete's boat, and we had quite a few sea bass that day as well, but there were a lot of small sea bass, not a lot of really nice legitimate keepers. So that's one great difference we saw today, was that we had a bunch of nice quality sea bass, and you know, they're so great to eat. They may seem like an annoyance when you're really trying to hone in on big fluke, but you know what, I'll take a couple of nice sea bass anytime. So I'm always happy to see them.
Just keep them in a bucket now.